indeed. So I'm absolutely delighted to be joined for today's Sourcing Focus by Otis. Otis is the Chief Operating Officer from OmniContact. OmniContact is a new player on the business services block, coming from a new region from business services delivery. So Otis, welcome. Thank you very much for joining me. And I'm really excited to hear a little bit about the story. You know, Omni's got a fantastic story and backstory, but also a lot more about Zimbabwe. You're joining me from Harare today, and what Zimbabwe has got to offer the industry. So please just give us a brief intro to Omni to get things kick-started.
Thank you, Carrie, for having me and for inviting me over. It's really a great privilege, and happy to be around. So the OmniContact story. So let me just give you a brief overview of OmniContact, and then I can kind of roll back to our origins, our roots. So OmniContact is a part and parcel of the Econet Wireless group of companies. The Econet Group has been around for the last 25 years in terms of our operations on the continent that is in Africa, as well as other parts of the world. So as at present, we are currently in 31 nations of the world, and we are serving customers in 94 countries of the world. Now, OmniContact is a business process outsourcing outfit, which is a new division within this broader Econet ecosystem. And I think a lot of our audience may relate to the founder of the Econet Group, Dr. Strive Masiwa, who is the chairman and founder of this group. So how we have found ourselves in this space is that prior to the group beginning its own operations, our chairman and his wife had this urge to want to help out in our environment. During that time, this was around I think 96, thereabout 1996. Africa had really been hit by the HIV pandemic, and there were lots of orphaned children that were basically coming about because their parents were succumbing to the AIDS pandemic. So from there was birthed what is called Higher Life Foundation. So Higher Life Foundation is the philanthropic arm of the group, which is basically run by our chairman's wife, Mrs. Masiwa, who is the co-chair of that unit. And from that time, it then started to evolve to become more focused in terms of how do we reach out to the disadvantaged in the communities, how do we create opportunities for their growth, for their development. And as a result of all those efforts, fast forward 25 years later, we have seen over 250,000 beneficiaries that have come through the scholarship programs that are offered through Higher Life Foundation. So, just birthed from humble beginnings, I think at that time they were, supporting about 100 kids. And it has really, grown to over 250,000. And these beneficiaries have basically gotten access to high school and tertiary education access. And, a number have actually, made, some huge strides and impact in their various areas where they are, pursuing career opportunities, business opportunities. So, bring that back to the Zimbabwean context. The foundation obviously was started, yes, in Zimbabwe, but we have since seen it spreading to other parts of, our operations, currently focusing on Africa. And when we kind of tie back to our group vision, which basically says that we envision a globally connected future that leaves no African behind. It ties in very well with the efforts that have been coming through the initiative of Higher Life Foundation. So you have the group focusing on technology. I mean, we've got interest in banking, technology, insurance, logistics, and what have you. And you are basically saying, how do we use technology to transform lives? How do we use technology to basically develop the continent? And this is where, as OmniContact, we are saying we have had this, huge talent pool available, and we are part and parcel of this group that is focusing on developing the continent as well as other parts of the world today. So, bringing that together, it has basically brought about an opportunity where we are saying we can, partner up with interested and like-minded organizations to basically create more opportunities for some of these disadvantaged and less privileged beneficiaries of our Higher Life Foundation program. And therefore, we have come up with our impact sourcing initiative, where we are saying they have been given the educational privilege via the foundation. Now we are coming in to provide them, their initial access into the work world. And one thing I must say is that, when you kind of read around and research around Zimbabwe, and a couple of factors or key issues stand out. Firstly, it's about the cultural affinity that we have in terms of how that aligns very well, especially with the UK, given our historical legacy from years back. The second aspect is the level of English. Our educational system is basically modeled in line with the UK system. So our students, our scholars, they go through the uh, exam board. So you do have a good quality, in terms of the actual caliber of the graduate or the student that comes out. So from there, we have seen good products coming out in terms of being able to deliver in the workplace. And as such, we've also seen great interest from some of the big organizations, the Googles of this world, the Facebooks of this world, whom, whilst we collaborate with at a technical level, we've also seen an interest as well in some of these programs.
Right, fantastic. So, just to summarize all of that, then Econet, its heritage was in the telco and tech space. Some 30 years ago, obviously one of the is it one of the biggest companies born out of Zimbabwe now, or yeah. Yeah. So then the founder and his wife founded the High Life Foundation to give opportunities to those disadvantaged. And from that, you actually have born OmniContact as being a business process outsourcing sort of provider, and you're using predominantly those individuals helped by the High Life Foundation to become the employees. Is that a correct summary?
Yes, that is a correct summary. So they are providing us with what I would call the top talent coming out of that program, and we are saying they have what it takes, but possibly the opportunities to actually get ready work access was the challenge, given the macro environmental issues that we have had as a country. And we believe that through this impact sourcing program, it's a good opportunity for some of this great talent to be given a chance to basically be able to access work opportunities, collaborating with some of our partners out there who are also willing to be part and parcel of taking part in this impact sourcing program by availing opportunities for these youngsters. So we see that as a good initiative, basically, to where they are accessing good quality and good talent, good quality employees, good talent, and in return, they are also, getting good quality results from the work that is being done on their behalf.
Fabulous. So you actually are an original impact sourcing provider. Your heritage is completely born out of the movement of impact sourcing. So that's phenomenal. So there's so many organizations that are now just trying to bring impact sourcing into their delivery, but you're born from it. So what's the vision? How big do you think that this opportunity is for OmniContact and Zimbabwe and sub-Saharan Africa?
Thank you, Kerry. In fact, what you've just mentioned is really core to who we are as our DNA, because that's essentially where we've been born out of from. So yes, to a very large extent, we, it's not something that we kind of identified as an opportunity there, but it's part and parcel of our legacy. It's part and parcel of our history. In terms of what we are looking at as our broader ambition, we are targeting that in the next 3 to 5 years, since we are now becoming quite aggressive about this particular program, to at least have students that come through this program, 5,000 students as a starting point. And for us, it's a way of really building up this particular program and ensuring that it is effective, it is having its desired impact, creating economic opportunities for our talent, and at the same time giving us a platform and a privilege to help them to grow and to develop their careers. So we would like to start with that as our broad goal, and then continue to scale as we optimize the program, as we get feedback from some of the program participants as well as from our partners as well.
Okay, cool. All right, so you've got the available talents, and so much opportunity. What's the infrastructure like in terms of the technology, and obviously the whole sustainability agenda is so huge at the moment. I mean, how do you respond to that?
In fact, you did mention that Econet is one of the biggest companies in the country at the moment, in Zimbabwe, that is. But as well on the African continent, we do feature there quite prominently for a number of reasons. Firstly, it's about the level of infrastructure investment that is basically driving our business operations. I did mention that we are a diversified group of companies. We've got interest in technology, we've got interest in telecoms, banking, insurance, logistics, mobile financial services, etc. So quite a huge investment outlay has been made to build the backbone that is basically being used as the highway to drive the transformation of the African continent, as well as other markets that we operate in. So from that standpoint, we see that from a sustainability perspective, a lot has been done, and we continue to build on that. So you will find that whilst there's the technological foundation that has been laid, we are also building additional services on top of that, telecoms network, fiber network. We do have one of our group companies that is, pursuing fiber, and on the African continent is the largest fiber provider with over 100,000 kilometers of fiber, on the continent. So basically, that becomes part and parcel of the infrastructure, which we can now use for providing, our impact sourcing program, the connectivity that is required for us to be able to basically connect with the rest of the world and provide the kind of support that they would be looking for their particular needs as an organization or as organization.
Yeah. So you've got the technology, you've got the people, you've got the access to talent. If I was to be speaking to you in 3 years from now, where do you think OmniContact will be?
If you were to be speaking to me 3 years down the road, yes, most definitely, most definitely. Where I see OmniContact 3 years down the road, I guess it's gonna be, amongst the, formidable and top players on the African continent, building on the legacy that we have, from our group perspective. I also see OmniContact as one of the top contributors and foremost players in terms of impact sourcing as a program, and in terms of also the quantifying the impact that this program will have, not just on the direct beneficiaries, but even the people that depend on them for their livelihood. So 3 years down the line, I think we certainly have we will have an exciting story to tell at that point in time in terms of changing and transforming the impact sourcing landscape.
That's fantastic. So EcoNet is behind this. OmniContact is leading this. Is the Zimbabwe government behind this industry? Do they see it as being a huge potential for, employment opportunities for the country? Are they going to make a stamp to put Zimbabwe on the technology and business services delivery map?
Absolutely, yes. So one of the, I think one of the key challenges that our government is faced with at the moment is, how do we create employment opportunities for our young population? You can say almost 65% of our population right now is, in the 20s and below. So what that means is that there's definitely a huge demand for these youngsters that are coming up in terms of getting access to jobs, being economically engaged, for them to make an impact. And when you look at it, broadly across the African continent, I think one of the key things that, has been realized is that the biggest population of, the young people is gonna be, coming out of Africa. So this really creates that ripe environment where the government is obviously going to get into these private partnerships, where they are supporting any agenda that assists them to kind of address some of the issues that we see in our environment. So from that standpoint, definitely they've also gone a step further in terms of creating what are called special economic zones. Basically what this means is for those that are interested, they are specifically designated areas where the tariffs and the rates are lowered in order to accommodate organizations that will bring or create mass employment opportunities. So from that standpoint, I do see a good and a great deal of support coming through from government.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, we're beginning to hear a lot more about the region. It sounds like it's a hotbed of talent, a hotbed of opportunity for UK companies to be looking at, investing in the region, accessing the talent of the region, and at the same time giving opportunities to individuals that might otherwise be disadvantaged through the great impact sourcing program you're running. So all I can say is thank you so much for joining me, and I can't wait to have this conversation in 3 years from now and see that this is actually is come to be. So thank you so much, Otis, and see you again soon.
Thank you so much, Kerry. It was a pleasure, and look forward to chatting to you very soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.